Hi, Debbie.
Hi.
I've not been able to catch you since the first time. Hello.
I'm not taking the session. I'm here to have a sing myself this morning.
Oh no. You keep doing it midnight.
Yeah, no, I didn't do midnight last night.
Oh, did you not?
I did 9 o'clock last night, so that was a bit better. Morning,
Yes.
Joan.
Morning.
Morning. We just have
Hi, Simon.
Hello. I've just sat down at my computer, so I'm just loading a couple of documents and bits and bobs. But then we'll give it a minute. Oh, there's someone else here. 1 second. I'm impressed. It's 7:30 in the morning. Although
Yeah.
it might not be 7:30 where you are. So I'm assuming.
That's right.
Is it 7:30 where you are? You're in the same time zone. You're not in America or anything.
It is where I am.
Yeah.
And me.
Wow, we've got more. What's Earth's happening? We've got more. Here we go. I'm going to take that as a win. Where is it? One voice. Good morning, Rachel.
Morning.
Yeah, we've got another one. 1 second.
Simon, depending on how late you run, I might have to shoot off because I'm going to go to work. So if I disappear...
Well, I mean, where is the commitment nowadays that you have a day of work for this session? I mean, just dearie me. I'm only kidding. Alrighty. Okay, folks. I've made myself, to be honest, this morning. I'm a little bit tired. I've made myself I think it's quadruple Nespresso cup. So I think 4 in 1 cup. Which, if that doesn't work, nothing will. I think at that point it'll be like the kind of those electric paddles that just to kind of keep me going. No, but yes. Good morning, everybody. How are we all?
Morning.
Fine,
yeah, for silly o'clock.
Everyone. Definitely the morning for everyone.
I've only just got up. Sessions, but she's made yours. I've just got up.
Oh,
Yes, we all have.
You're looking fabulous. Yeah, well, don't worry. We're not judging people based on how they look. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. So, folks,
Alive.
We'll get going. I have a couple of things to load up on my computer. So if at any point you see me looking that way, that's only my second computer screen, which I'm just loading up some bits and bobs onto that. So once we're doing, so I'm kind of here, and I'm going to keep on kind of looking sideways to make sure I'm all ready for some introductions. Obviously, I am not myself a soprano. Many things I can do. Sing soprano, as you'll know from the guide tracks, is not one of my skills. So apologies for those tracks. It's about as well as I can do to sound like all you lovely in the morning. So we'll do some introductions. Obviously, you may well already know each other, but I haven't met you all yet. So that would be awesome to hear who you are. I'll just let you know, I am recording this session. In case any of you want to go back through stuff, I generally record most of my sessions so people can get back on that stuff. Also, I share it with the music team, so any of them can kind of watch that. We do still have some members of the music team who haven't taken many sessions yet and stuff like that. So let me just very quickly say I'm Simon. Most of you will have worked that one out by now. There you go. Obviously, I do a lot of singing and kind of started off the idea of the collective because all my lovely music groups got cancelled basically overnight, and I do a lot of different musical things with singing, and everything got cancelled. So it was basically something to fill the void of all the various rehearsals and concerts and things that I'd normally be doing. Obviously, very ably assisted by my music team, and yeah. But there we go. That's me. I'm Simon. So next we'll have Debbie, which some of you know. She's memorable as our Debbie. Debbie, introduce yourself.
I'm Debbie. I'm based in Leicester. I'm one of Simon's music team.
I can't hear you.
Oh, can't you?
Can't hear you.
Yeah, a little bit closer, Debbie.
That's unusual. Normally I'm more. I was saying normally I'm louder than the rest of the world. Okay. I'm Debbie. I'm based in Leicester. I'm one of Simon's music team. A lot of you have been in my session. I'm like Simon. I do lots and lots of singing all the time. So my life ended overnight as well. I sing in a couple of weekly choruses. I sing in a couple of monthly choruses. I sing in 2 quartets. One of them with the lovely Alison, who's just got out of bed clearly and never made a quartet rehearsal for the last 2 weeks, or one of my sessions. But hey, that's just nothing.
Oh, shut
So
up.
I'm pleased to see that she's actually alive this morning. I work for the NHS, so I'm at work all day. So if I disappear, that's where I've gone. So that's me. Hello.
Excellent. Jill Clare, please.
Right, I'm Jill. I live in Warrington in Cheshire. I sing with the Ladies Barbershop Cheshire Chord Company, and I did White Cliffs of Dover. That's where I started in this collective journey.
Excellent stuff. Good to see you. Okay, next, Joan Collins.
Hi, I'm Joan Collins. I live on the Isle of Wight. I belong to White Satin Chorus on the Isle of Wight, and recently joined a mixed chorus, which we've just started not very long ago. I've been in barbershop for nearly 23 years.
Wow. That's a decent amount of time, 23 years. Like sentence kind of time, that is. So I'll let you out soon. Melanie Van Gemert, please.
I was hoping you'd say my name. I'm Melanie from the Netherlands. I'm also too, so I'm not a soprano. But I just thought I'd pop in and look at Simon how he's doing this, because I can't host my own meetings because I only have an iPhone.
Yeah. The technological problems of not having enough tech. I don't have that issue. I have too many computers in my house.
I have computers, but they don't work with Zoom.
Ah, there you go. Oh, well, very good to see you again, Melanie. Very good to see you again. Rachel S, please. Rachel S.
Hello. I live in Hinckley, so not too far away from some of you. I sing with Silver Lining Chorus, part of Labs, but I've previously done other more choral stuff. I've only been back in barbershop for a couple of years now. But yeah, I'm a baritone normally, but it's just for fun.
You know, the difference in baritone and soprano, I think, is minimal. I think vocally it's same thing, really.
Barbershop generally is just very, very narrow ranged, so it's just nice to do something a bit out of what I normally sing.
Well, you're more than welcome in the Sopranos. They seem like they're a lovely bunch. I've been hearing they're rather fabulous. So it's proving to be the case at the moment. We will have iPhone brackets 2, who's just turned the camera off. So we'll go for Eileen.
Hello, I'm Eileen in Liverpool, and I sing with Mercy Harmony.
Excellent. Good to see you. I haven't been to Liverpool in a long time. Next we'll have...
Sorry, I've got one and one on the other, and
what I've done is I've just muted that one for you. Otherwise, we're going to get the never-ending feedback loop, which, to be frank, it had a bit of beat to it. I was about to start kind of dancing in a style. Maybe we'll put that later on for the party mix. But Alison, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
I live near Milton Keynes. I've been barbershopping since about 2010. I started off at Junction 14 in Milton Keynes, then went to Phoenix. Had a lovely time in America with Phoenix a couple of years ago. I've been a member of Coast to Coast for a long time, and I'm a member of Diminished Capacity with Debbie. And
that is a good name. I like that name.
Oh, yeah, we thought so.
Very good to see you. And we don't need to introduce the feedback phone. That's obviously just by your side.
I can't get that off.
Nope, that's absolutely fine. That's not a problem. I've muted it, and we'll just say it's like the silent person in the room. So it's okay. Okay, folks. Now, what I would like to do is I would like to just go, and it's possibly because you're sopranos. It was something I did for a baritone sectional the other day, but we're going to attempt it. Now, I may well have to move the pitch up and down, and not myself a little bit croaky today, but I'm going to move it up and down with my computer technology. If that therefore makes it sound like I'm auditioning to be a chipmunk, or I've swallowed something strange on my recording, forgive me, it was recorded in my normal voice, not my soprano voice. However, it's not going to sound much worse than my normal soprano voice, which sounds pretty much like a swallowed, strangled chipmunk. Anyway, so I'm just going to share my screen. Because basically the untold story of the collective has turned out to be the competitive nature of our section leaders, who basically have started producing PowerPoint presentations, like interactive flip charts, doing their own kind of like just basically like who's got the best warm up. It's basically just turned into a very friendly competition of who can show that they're working the hardest.
That's surprising.
Now, I'm not a competitive person, but I've done a PowerPoint presentation. Don't worry, it's not like the history of barbershops from 1928, because that would be great, but not now. So I'm going to share my screen, folks. Just let me know if you can see that.
Yes.
Yes, marvelous. Now, normally I spend a good amount of time setting up the sound on my computer. And as I said this morning, I was ever so slightly later out of bed than I'd planned. I slept through my 6 o'clock alarm and got up at 7:15. Yes. So I would like to tell you to tell me if you can hear this, please. It's a pitch. No, nothing.
No.
Excellent.
I can't see it
Right.
either.
You can't, well, the screen's definitely there. I've definitely put the screen there. 1 second.
Died.
Just tell me if you can hear this.
Have you ever been to
You
the
hear that?
waters?
Excellent.
Yes.
Fine. Now, I'm assuming because you are of a soprano variety, folks, that I will need to put this up. Let's say 5. Let's say 5 semitones. Let's put on formant. 1 second. Okay, this is going to work, but like I said, remember, my normal voice sounds better than this. This is going to sound slightly odd, but at least it'll be in tune. It won't be an octave lower than you're trying to actually. Okay. So I'm just going to click on. I'm going to give you a second to have a look at the words of this round. Has anyone done this one before?
Yes.
Yeah, I first got introduced to it by the lovely Andy Allen, who used to be the director of Hallmark of Harmony. So
Kelly Shepherd. Kelly Shepherd
What's that?
taught us this. Kelly Shepherd taught Cheshire Chord this.
Oh, did he? Oh, you know it. So we're going to
We
go
know
through
it coast to coast.
Yeah, coast to coast.
You see, it's a good one. You see, who knew that a song about a small alligator would be so popular with the world? Here we go. Oh, 1 second. We've got someone in the waiting room. Rachel.
Yeah, it's me. It's my laptop's died.
Oh, that's no worries. I always thought, we've already got Rachel, but no, she's coming in a different way. Everyone wants to be Alison, you see. They want to come in multiple times and multiple devices on different angles.
I can see the screen now. But if you need to mute me, can you mute me? Because I can't do it on my laptop.
Shall I mute your laptop one, yeah?
Yes, please.
In fact, if your laptop's thing, can I remove your laptop from the chat?
Yes, if you can do that, please.
Oh, I can do that.
The power, the power.
Oh, he says, and literally I just clicked the remove button, and Rachel has not been removed, and I can't mute.
You can't get rid of me. You are Sarah Jackson.
Rachel S. Remove. Okay. Well, I can't remove your other person. I've lost all the power I had, which wasn't very much power to begin with. So there we go. Obviously,
she's not moving.
No, but there we go. That's fine. We'll go with that. Okay, so we have our words on here now. I think we should be okay on pitch. Just let me know if you can hear this.
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4. Have you ever been to the waters? If You hear that? Okay, cool. Excellent. I'm just going to mute you all. 1 second. I'm just going to mute you all. And then I would like you to go through. I'm going to play once. If you've already done it, you can sing through the first time. But by the time we've gone through it twice, you'll know it. And then we're going to do it in a round in 2 parts, then 4 parts with the wonders of technology. If you have headphones in, you'll be able to help because I've panned it left and right. If you've not got headphones in, well, then I can't help you. Here we go. Have a listen. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Have you ever been to the water spout way down at the bottom of the water system? There you'll find a little alligator who goes by the name of Alfred. If you do, he's mine. I lost him. I threw him down the water spout, and now I'm feeling lonely.
Nice and
'cause
smooth
he's
with
gone.
that voice.
I miss
Once
him.
more.
Have you ever been to the water
Stitch together that
spout way
singing.
down at the bottom of the water
Hold the low note up.
system? There you'll find
Good.
a little alligator who goes by the name of Alfred.
Keep
If
those
you
notes
do,
the
he's
same.
mine. I lost him. I threw him down the water spout, and now I'm feeling lonely 'cause he's gone. I miss him.
Now, when you eventually do this, that note lasts a long time because the other parts have to finish. So you're going to need to have good breath control. That is a time for you to experience ninja breaths. Now, you've obviously gone through this already, but at that point, you definitely do not want to try, and I'll be honest, I didn't sing that note all in one go. I sang the note for as long as I could, and then afterwards, I stretched it out with my computer technology to make it sound like I sang the note for that long. Okay, so do not try and sing that note in one go. It's actually a good time to actually practice breathing and then coming back in and trying to make sure that you maintain on long notes, that you go out on a little bit of a volume dip and then you come back in. So basically it's like just feathering your throttle when you come back in, because again, if you put your foot down straight into a note, you're going to be like and we're going to get that on our recording, which will sound interesting, but it won't be what we want. Okay, so we're going to do this in 4 parts. I believe in you, therefore we're going to do it straight in 4 parts. Debbie, you are part 4. You have to do the difficult bit. Debbie's on part 4. Melody on part 3. Jill on part 2. I'd like Rachel's broken laptop to be on part 1, please. Alison on part 1. Eileen on part 2. Joan on part 3. Has everyone got a part? Rachel could be on part 4 as well. You can have a challenge as well.
Okay.
There you go. Here we go. Could you all mute yourself if you haven't already? Oh, you have. Brilliant. So we're going to go through all 4 parts. Was that a question?
I can't mute myself.
Oh, no.
Should I just come out? If you can't do it, I'll just come out and come back in.
Yes, do that. I'll give go out and come back in, and I'll just wait. I'll just wait a couple of seconds.
Well, carry on, because I can hear everything on my laptop, on my phone even, and I'll just come back in on my laptop in a minute.
Okay, that's fine. Not a problem. Okay, see you in a second. I'll keep an eye on the participants and let you back in. Here we go then, folks. We'll go through this. I'll count the parts in. Part 1 first.
1, 2,
Part
3,
1.
4. Have you ever been to the water spout way down at the bottom of the water system? Have you ever been to the water spout way
Part 3
down
ready?
at the bottom of the water
Part 3.
system? Have you ever been to the water spout
Part 4 ready?
Part
4.
Have you ever been to the water spout way down at the bottom of the water system? Have you ever been to the water
Repeat when you get to the end of your section.
Have you ever been to the water spout way down at the bottom of the water system? Have you ever been to the water spout way down at the bottom of the water system? Have you ever been to the water spout?
Hold the note on part 1. Breathe when you need part 1. Part 2, hold your note on. Breathe when you need. Part 3, hold your note on. Support. Poor old. I mean, what kind of heartless, cruel individual would throw an animal down a water spout? It's just terrible. I think it's like a Shakespearean tragedy, that one. I think that's what it does to me. It brings me almost to tears. Poor little Alfred the alligator. I can imagine Shakespeare writing about Alfred the alligator. I think we can all, identify with his crisis in this time of woe. So we've now got one more before we continue. Before we get on with the song, and I wrote it. So not only did I decide to do a warm up, I then decided that I had to do a warm-up that no one else could possibly do, and the only way of doing that was to write one myself. So I wrote around myself so that I could attempt to be almost as good as Debbie was yesterday. So the words are not very difficult, and I'm just going to quickly share my screen. And the words are, and obviously, sometimes I'm good with words, and I like to think of myself as a bit of a pensmith and write emotional things. This one wasn't one of my more emotional speeches. I like to sing. Yeah. I like to sing. I like to sing. So obviously, you've not particularly got a struggle on the lyrical side of this. But we'll go with that, okay? However, it is 100%. No one has done this warm-up before except the baritones the other day and the basses the day before that. So the basses have to have everything moved down 3 semitones, and you're up 4 now. So, yeah, they had me sounding like I'd swallowed a plum. You get the chipmunk version of me. So we're going to go through, and we're going to have a little listen to the tune part first, and then we'll go through. It's a little bit more harmonic, but it is a little bit more rangy, so I designed it to try and sort out some of those top notes. Here we go. Have a listen. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I like to sing. I like to sing.
Can you hear that?
I like to sing. Yeah. I like to sing.
Control the high.
I like to sing.
Have a listen again.
I like to sing. I like to sing. I like to sing. Yeah.
So try that first little bit there for me. Is that kind of pitch okay for everyone? It's relatively rangy, which is why I did it that way. So if you move it up too much, the high notes are too high. If you make the high notes lower, the low notes are too low. So it was on purpose to try and just force you to use a little bit of your range. So let's do the first half. Here we go. First half. 1, 2, 3, 4. And
I like to sing. I like to sing. I like to sing. Yeah.
Same note.
I like to sing.
Going high. Chromatic. Okay, does that make sense? Now, don't worry, you're going to get it a couple of times. We'll do it in 2 parts first. So, I would like Debbie, Jill, Joan, and Melanie to be part 2. And Eileen, Alison, Rachel's iPhone X, and Hello Andrew Edgley can be part 2. Now, very quickly, I'm just going to unmute Andrew so he can introduce himself. Otherwise, you may think that a strange man has entered the room, and I might have to kind of call someone about it. So it's okay. We know Andrew. He is safe. You are among friends. So, Andrew, could you just unmute yourself and introduce yourself, please? I'll just stop sharing my screen.
Good morning, all. You might be right that a strange man has entered the room, of course. Morning, all. Morning, time. I hope you don't mind me dropping in. I am not normally a soprano, but I wanted to watch the maestro work for a few minutes in the morning. So I shall join in where I can and look forward to hearing you.
Less of a maestro today, more of a croaky old man. But there we go. But good to see you, mate. Good to see you. So I'll just quickly share my screen and I'll just pop you on mute. Okay, so let's go through this in 2 parts. So you've all got your part. I will count you in and we can do this original round, which makes me special because I wrote it. And there we go. And in the end of the day, this entire project was about making me feel special. So here we go. If only that was a joke. Here we go, folks. Let's do it. Part 1 first. 2, 3. Part 1.
I like to sing. I like to sing.
Part 2.
I like to sing. I like to sing. I like to sing. You sing.
High note.
I like to
Repeat
sing.
part 1.
I like to sing. 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 You sing. I like to sing.
Part 1 stop.
I
Part
like to sing.
Stop. Hey, let's do it in 4 parts. Everyone learnt the tune now? Excellent. I may well beatbox and bass through it because it needs a bass line and a rhythm, this one, by the time it gets going. So that's another thing that no other section leaders have done so far, is beatbox during a warm-up. So, I mean, obviously I'm trying to do things that no one else has done. I'm pretty sure that I'm the only beatboxing warm-up guy around these here parts. So we'll go with that, folks. Whether or not it's for any good or of any use, not a clue, but I'm going to do it anyway. Here we go. 4 parts. You can choose your part this time. Part 1 is easy. Part 2 is medium. Part 3 is difficult. Part 4 is show off. So let's see who starts on part 4. Don't let me down. Here we go. All 4 parts. 1, 2, 3. Part 1.
I like to sing.
Get a little bit of rhythm in your head.
Part
2.
I like to sing. I like to sing.
Part 3.
I like to sing. I like to sing.
Part 4.
I like to sing. I like to sing.
Repeat when you get to the end.
I like to sing. 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 I like to sing.
Part 1 stop.
I like to sing.
And smile, part 1. Part 2 stop.
I like to
Part 3
sing.
stop.
I like to sing.
And well done, part 4. You've reached the same point. Excellent. Now, there was one more, but we'll get on with the song now. The other one I may well share at some point on the YouTube, which was basically just an elongated version of Rose Red, where you weren't allowed to breathe after the end of any of the lines. It's basically like, yeah, missing out word breath control. You were banned from breathing at the end of any line, including at the end of the entire thing when you repeated it. So we'll leave that one for another day. So, folks, I'm just going to quickly sort out my screens. I will just quickly unmute you. And I'll just close down my PowerPoint to free up my computer processing power. And then we'll get on with the song. So, 1 second. Don't save. No. Excellent. So, you will hopefully see there's a few things that I have shared with you, mainly on the Facebook page. I am basically trying to... The issue I have at the moment with email is that every single time I start to send an email, something requires to be changed. So the email I've then started is then out of date, and I then have to restart the email. So basically, every time I come to send anything, it's out of date before I've even got to the end of trying to send it. So I'm just going to have to send something today, but knowing that the schedule, the timetable is changing on a daily basis, and codes are changing on a daily basis, and everything's changing. So I just need to send something out, even though I know that by the time you'll reach it, it will be out of date anyway. But there you go, the joys of email. I'm just going to go through and show you the folder in a second, within the stuff that you need to be looking at and the stuff that I've produced for you. Now, the original file link that you had, is still there. So when you go into the file link that you originally got sent in email number 1, okay, and it was also sent as a link in the last email, and at the top of the Facebook members group, it's pinned as a link. So I'm trying to make sure everyone can access this link. You basically have live access to all the documentation for this whole process. So everything, it will never be sent out new. It will already be in the folder as soon as it's there. So you have live access to basically, that's a part of my computer drive, which has all the stuff. Okay. There is an updated guide track folder, and I'll just double click on that. And there is a brand new set of guide tracks. I re-recorded the entire song with new breathpoints, okay, because there's a new score. So I made section leaders' jobs hard by changing the entire breath plan of the whole song 2 days into the process, which was nice of me. But then I am a flighty musical director. But then what I did to help them out was then recording the new guide tracks again, featuring the correct breathpoints and dynamic plan. Okay, so that's there. One of the ones that is very useful, I find, is harmony parts only. If you're really looking at the timing, and we'll have a listen to this today, the timing is really helped by listening to the harmony parts only, especially where to put the S on the end of voice and where it lands. Okay, when the solo part is there, the solo part often sings over the top of the ends of phrases. You can't quite hear when you should put the S. The harmony parts, you can really pick out the precision that is needed at the end of the sections if we're not going to get a recording that basically sounds like an army of snakes. The next thing in that is the score. There is a score folder in here, and I've created a 3rd of May update, which most of you will have seen. However, it takes a while to load. That's because the annotations are live, as in all the ink pen drawings are still, they're basically like mini pictures on top of the score. So I can then go in and edit it, but that does mean that it takes ages to load for some people because it's a big file and it needs computer processing power. There is a small file size version which loads really quickly, and those ink things are part of the file. So so that does exist, okay, and that's specifically there to help you out if you have a slow computer or a tablet that just doesn't like PDFs with ink annotations. This new version is nice and simple, nice and small. It's exactly the same, but yes. The only other thing is on the Facebook page, I've also put the score as pictures. I will put them in this drive as well as individual pictures if pictures are an easier thing for you to print, because some people are struggling to print the PDF and it basically loses all the ink when you print it out. It just prints out a blank score with none of my annotations on. Okay, so doing our best. Just be aware that everything that you have everything that you need will be in that folder link. So there'll be live conductor tracks. There'll be new video guide tracks today. So I'm going to go through and do the video guide tracks with the new versions of the score, and I've started practicing my conducting skills. This time, as opposed to Dover, you will get a conducting video for every part, so you will have me conducting just for your part to give you exactly when you need to go through the breath points, everything. So I'm going to basically do 6 different conductor videos, 1 for each part, which will be the one you can use for your recording. So that just means I need to conduct the song correctly all the way through. That hasn't yet happened, but I'm practicing, but I keep on fluffing things up and getting what the part is. So basically I'm having to learn all the parts that I wrote to then be able to conduct them. There you go. It's the world we live in. So the score is up here on the screen, and I'm just going to bring up the guide track. Are we okay to go straight into the soprano part rather than starting off with the all parts? Excellent. That's brilliant. So here we go. Let's do the soprano part only. Let's open with VLC Media Player. Don't sing for the moment. 3, 4, 2. I've lost my media player. There it is. To just explain to you, I have 2 screens, and therefore you never know where something is going to appear and which screen it's going to appear on. So that one appeared underneath Zoom, Well, I try it. Well, again, I think I was gonna say no other section use a double screen solution, but I know for a fact that they do. So I can't even claim I'm good in that way. So, but there you go. So we're gonna go through this. I also today am gonna do a soprano only score. So basically, I'm gonna take all those annotations from the main score and put it on a soprano only score. But again, it's just finding the time to do all these individual little things. But they will be done, so do not worry. Here we go. Let's go through the song. I am going to mute you. Most of you have done it yourself, but I will mute you. I always like to tell you I'm going to mute you because if I mute you without telling you, it's rude. So I got told off in a rehearsal for one of my groups a while back for muting someone without actually requesting that I could mute them. I suppose in real life I wouldn't walk across to someone and put my hand over their mouth to make them be quiet. So I suppose it is a fair point. It's just literally just clamping my hand across their mouth in real life would be seen as a slight social faux pas. So here we go.
Tempting sometimes then.
What's that, Rachel?
Tempting sometimes then.
Oh, it's so tempting. I mean, sometimes I want to bring like a cricket bat or a rounders bat to a chorus rehearsal just to keep order. But I'd be probably done for murder by this point. But excellent. I'm sure all of you are model citizens in choruses and choirs, and you never talk and you never speak up and you always follow the rules. I love it. Everyone's just like, no, I never do that. The musical director is always wrong. It's an interesting one. The musical director is always wrong, except when I'm the musical director. There you go. Who knew? Excellent. Let's do the song. Make sure you're muted.
All it takes is one.
Can we all hear that? It will be quite quiet. Excellent.
So they hear what's on your mind, and when you look
Nice breath now.
you'll find there's more than
1, 2, 3.
One voice.
2, 3.
One voice.
Comes on the downbeat. S, 2, 3.
One
Breathe. O, transition into R. A good breath and smile. Keep up on that. Breathe. 2, 3. Breathe. Building the volume now. Breathe. 2, 3. Breathe. Soft D's now. No breath there. Breathe. No breath there. Breathe. No breath. And you need to be smiling and tall here. Good. Breathe. And bring the volume down a little bit. Breathe. Tune. Good. No breath. That's where you might need to miss some words out. This is a very long phrase. Miss out words, but do not breathe. 1, 2, breathe. No anger, make sure it's nice and smiley. Breathe. And breathe. No breath here. 2, move it together. 1. Breathe. Bang. And then you be as smiley as you can. Smilier than that. There we go. Excellent. Now, there is a tendency in this song, and I'm just going to stop sharing the screen so I can see you all and you can see me. There is a tendency and I just find this in general, that when you're reminded to smile, it does well. When you smile, it makes a big difference on your voice. We need to make sure, even though I'm not receiving video for this, as in you're going to send me audio recordings, and then we'll do a video where you basically lip sync to the recording that is edited. But it makes a difference. I can tell when someone's not smiling on a recording. You can just tell in the voice. It just doesn't sound the same. Therefore, how you look when it says smile, that's not me being sarcastic. That means you actually really need to remember to smile. When there's a bit that randomly says no anger, it's because generally when the dynamics get louder, and this is for all parts, not just sopranos, when your dynamics get louder, often it can be a little bit angry in the face because you're going for volume and you're concentrating on breath control and volume and etc. And it ends up looking like you're a little bit angry. And this is just because I watched people in sectionals going, oh, wow, you look like you're kind of a little bit annoyed that there's only one voice, that like you like it's not a quartet. There's 3 people still required to make music together kind of thing. But just make sure that you're smiley and not angry and keeping your face bright and keeping it nice and open. And that really has a massive impact on your voice. Now, I want to actually get into the nitty-gritty of it and the bit basically where you need to start using these ninja breaths. I didn't used to call them ninja breaths. Calling them ninja breaths has caused an issue in that ninja breaths is NB, and I write down NB to mean no breath. Now you can see where the confusion is. I used to call them staggered breaths or chorus breaths, but someone said ninja breaths, so I started stealing that, and it hasn't helped me at all.
Simon,
So,
sorry, I'm going
when
to
we
have
get
to leave because I need to go to work.
Oh, just all these people who work.
I
mean,
know.
Be a teacher, and then you get to say,
I am.
No.
I'm
Have a
working
lovely
at
day.
school.
Good to see you.
Bye.
Oh, but you're in today. Oh,
Yeah, we've got
I
kids
feel
in.
your pain. Later, Alison.
Bye.
Oh, yeah, that's true. See you later. Have a lovely day. Lovely to see you again.
Bye. Oh, no.
See you later.
Yes, try.
So, folks, I want to go on. Excellent. I thought I was going to have to remove her from the room. It's like someone says, I'm going to leave now. Bye. 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 You're like, go already. Just leave. You've said it. Go. Stop talking about it. I'm just going to, we're basically on section C. Now, section C is the point where you need to be using these ninja breaths, where you need to be missing out words. Suddenly, basically, you get through to that point not really having to worry about your breath. All the red lines, by the way, the straight red lines, is where you have to breathe. Okay? You have to breathe on a red line. You cannot choose to go through because it will affect timing. So every time you have on your part a downwards red line, that is basically the equivalent of the breathe tick. I put a red line because I'm a control freak and I don't want anyone to to try and move through it. So a red line means breathe. Breathe now. Thank you. That's what it means. Okay. Now you will notice that you get longer phrases, especially over the page turn from page 7 to page 8. Okay. So you initially think, oh, section C is easy. You get like a breath after like 1.5 bars. And then you get like a 4-bar section with no breath, where you normally would, and that's a little bit tricky. Then you get a really small breath and then into a much more difficult section. Shout it out and let it ring, just one voice, and you're still going into page 8. That is not easy to sing in one breath. I'm not saying that you can't. In a way, I'm saying that you shouldn't attempt to, because there's no necessity for you to do it all in one go, but you're not allowed to breathe at the NB points because that's going to affect the sync and it's going to affect how it sounds. So you need to start missing out words. Okay, so I'm just going to play section C, and we're going to spend a bit of time on section C because that's the bit that I can imagine with all the timing things and everything singing over the top of one another with all these kind of, it's got this kind of slightly cascading feel to it with all the different bits and bobs happening. This is going to be one that on the recording is going to otherwise sound really messy if people don't put the correct breath points in, or if they breathe when they're not supposed to breathe. And just very quickly, you might think, why have I put the word NB at the places I've put them? It's because they're the points where you'd normally, naturally, think you have a breath. You know, bits in the song where you think it's the end of a sentence, but it's not. Every point that says NB, that's a time that you might try and sneak a breath. And that's why I put that you're not allowed to breathe there. Okay? Let's do section C then. 1 second. Here we go. Join in. 2, 3, 4. This first breath needs to be big. Breathe. Put the S at the beginning of the next word. Breathe. No breath. No breath. Okay, so honest question is, I'm just going to unmute you for a second. Do most of you get to that phrase? And I'll be reminding you that you'll have sung already for a couple of minutes by this point. So obviously singing it in isolation is maybe possible, but I would say, would you agree that most of you may well have to take a word out to sing that shout it out and let it ring, just one voice to get through that section with quality? Does anyone think they can nail through that without having to worry about breathing?
I'll try.
Possibly, but I think
No,
I'd
what I'm
probably
saying
rather
is
do it.
don't try. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm actually saying don't try. Unless you can do that section when you're like after you've walked up and down the stairs a couple of times, I would honestly say don't try. Because because basically there's no reason to. There is loads of sopranos. There's loads of people on every part. Okay, and in big choruses, and again, when I've sung with my chorus, I've sung with Hallmark of Harmony. I direct a chorus, but I sing with another chorus as well. But when I've sing with Hallmark, you're actually, I think once the one song they said you should be taking 25% of the words out of this song and breathing in space of those 25% of the words. And we did in contest, but you can't hear because there was 80 people on stage, and therefore you're all taking breaths at different times. But it sounds like the chorus has great breath control, but all they're doing basically is just missing out words and miming the word while they're breathing. And it looks, and again, I'm sure that other choruses here will do a lot of that, more so than people in smaller choruses realize, that therefore it just looks like they have the world's most amazing breath control. And whilst they may well have good breath control, sometimes it's smoke and mirrors. It's this is what you do to make it sound like you never need to breathe. So I would say that unless there's a real reason for it, unless you're just wanting to be competitive with yourself, try and practice taking words out. So this time I would like you to, on the shout it out and let it ring, just one voice, I would like you to take out part of that phrase and breathe. Do not take out take a breath after ring. So basically, it can't be in between words. You could, for example, miss out the word let. So you could, for example, shout it out and let it ring. So you can just breathe on the word let, but it has to be the same timing as the word would have. It doesn't need to be actually short breath because the word let is quite long. It's only one beat, but that's ages to breathe. So you could do it on the just. Shout it out and let it ring, one voice. So you actually breathe on the word just. That's fine as well. As long as it doesn't come in between words, that's fine. Oh, bless. A small childling.
That's not your phone.
So we're going to go through this section again, folks. And we are going to go through this section again. And the shout it out and let it ring, you must take a word out. I want you to practice this. You must. Even Debbie, who obviously has the world's most amazing breath control, but you must just practice this. Okay? You must. Because there's no guarantee I won't. What's that, Debbie?
I'm a clarinet player, don't forget. I've got good breath.
You know, how long since you played your clarinet?
Never mind.
Once a clarinet player, always a clarinet player. Here we go. So I'm just going to mute you all, but I want you to practice this because you'll be surprised that when you do your recording, you will suddenly be nervous, which is weird because you'll be nervous in your own house just because this is the one you might want to send. Suddenly, just like contest day, your breath control goes everywhere. You start getting nervous and you do a worse version. You're like, this is stupid. I'm only singing the same as I was before, but because I pressed a button on a phone, I'm now significantly worse than I was 5 minutes ago. Don't ask me. It's psychology and I don't understand people. So let's go through section C again. Please take out breaths. Sorry, please take out words and breathe on them. Here we go. Here we go. 3, 4. breath here. A good breath here. Smile. Okay, cool. Now, I'm going to, because you're lovely sopranos, did that work, by the way? Did you practice taking out a word?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, the thing, I'll be honest here, when you take out a word, suddenly, and I'm being honest here, I would say the quality of the end of that resultant long phrase will have been improved by you taking out a word. So even with good breath control, there is no, like, air is air. You can't, there's no, you know, you can't help but be better when you've got a little bit more air. Okay. And I don't mean overinflating, kind of puffing yourself up like a ball and then can't sing at all. But that helps the phrase. I'll be honest, when I did the guide track for this, there were a couple of occasions where I went the whole phrase to not breathe. But I know that if I'd have taken those little ninja breath things, it would have made a big difference. Okay. But obviously if I did that, it would sound weird because there'd be a word missing out of your track. So you'd think, has Simon took a word out? Shout it out and it ring. What? But yeah. So I have to sing it as it's written, but that doesn't mean you have to sing all the words. Okay? What was the saying? Yes. So let's do that again. Let's do section C and all the way to the end. When we get to the end, can I just remind you of the slowing down section in air breathe? The breathe comes half a bit after you think it will. It slows down after it hits that point. So if you're in tempo, you go air vree, but it doesn't. It goes air vree. It just comes like just a little bit after you think it will. Make sure you're practicing that, because if it's out of time, the problem is I'm gonna have maybe 600-700 parts that I have to go and move it in time, and annoyingly that will take a long time to move all them in time. Okay, so let's just go for section C and D all the way to the end of the song, and then I'll take some questions. Here we go, lovely. In fact, I'll mute you unless you beat me to the punch. Excellent. Here we go then. Section C and section D. 2, 3, 4. A good breath here, right through this section. Make sure you're smiling. Get that emotion going. Breathe. Here's the big phrase. Take a word out. Good. No breath there. Good. Breathe. No anger in your face. Brighten that face up. It's a positive song. And slower. There you go. And then lighten it up. Smiling all the way. Swan. Breathe. And just hold it. Nice and smiley. And I actually marginally shortened that last note by about half a breath, just because it felt like it was just that little bit longer than it needed to be. And I don't want it to sound pretentious. Okay, folks, is there any questions at this point? So I think section B is nice and simple. I think section C is the hardest one of the song. Jill Clare. Yes,
on the last page on bar 48, I don't quite know where to say the Y of voice, where to turn the diphthong, as it were. Going into the swan.
Yeah, basically, yeah, you almost don't. I put the word voy, but yeah, you don't. You basically, well,
is it right at the end?
I'll do it not in tempo. I'll do it not in pitch. Obviously, my soprano is non-existent at the moment, but I would say voy. voice one.
Right
So
at the
the
end.
oi
Yeah.
comes right at the end before the SW.
Yeah.
Yeah, so actually I
Yeah.
could have moved that. Then
Yeah.
if I had YSW and then the one, it might look like I was changing the
Yeah.
language to Welsh or something.
Yeah,
it's like,
thank you.
Schwong. No worries. Any other questions?
Yeah.
Yes, Rachel's iPhone X.
On the vree, do we roll the R or is it just normal?
No, don't
Okay.
roll it. If you can avoid it, some people have automatic rolls, but no, I wouldn't say so. If anything, and not in a aggressive way, but just slightly, not clench the jaw, but into the re, you can almost as in you can kind of ever so slightly quickly just move off that re, like cheese grater kind of stuff. So just begin the friction with the r sound and then into the note.
Okay.
Yeah, so vree. So you've got the v and the r are right. Vree. Yeah. But yeah, you don't need to roll the R. It's brilliant, but no. I think if I told everyone to roll the R, some people won't, and it'll sound weird. So yeah, if you can avoid it, that'd be great. Any other questions, lovely?
No, I think so.
Debbie, you not got questions, Debbie?
I'm all right now.
You all right?
I wasn't all right yesterday, but I'm all right now.
So the only other one is on that point is actually bar 41, 42, 43, 44. Bar 44 into 45, there is something there that happens nowhere else, I think, in the song. And that is where the S lands. You'll have to do some homework on where to put your S's. That one, okay? Yeah, it is actually. It's the only time you put an S on beat 3 in the entire song. Everything else is on the downbeat or 4 and see you later, Andrew. Take care, matey. Awesome to see him. So you put the S on beat 3, which is earlier than you need to. And I will because you might just think, well, I've got 2 rests after that. Why don't I just extend the note? Why am I breathing early? Why am I putting an S early and breathing early? Well, that's because the melody line, their S on voice before they breathe and say and comes on beat 3. Okay, so you're putting your S of voice with the melody line so that their next word, the word and, can be heard. So basically, you're getting out of the way of the melody line, basically there, so we can hear the melody line. Now, if I just quickly play the all parts, you will hear that. I'm loving the birds in the background. Someone sounds like they're like in an aviary. 1, 2, 3. You all hear that? You see it? You see that? So everyone just gets out of the way. Have another look. Breathe. So it just frees up the texture. So that's why you're breathing early. There's no other places where you've got such a long time of doing nothing. So you breathe, and then you've got like at least like 2.5 beats without doing anything. Okay. So, but that is for musical reasons. So please make sure you put the S early. It feels the original score, it was a 4-beat note on voice, but actually now I've shortened it to 3. And made sure where you put the S, because otherwise it's going to sound muddy and we're going to lose that melody line with and there is a little bit of a counter melody which tenor, the alto 2s are doing and so we really need to hear them, so that's why you want to get off that quickly. The only other one to be aware of is just before the all it takes is. That is a quicker breath than you think because it comes on beat 2 of the bar. Okay, so you've got one voice, and you've got to be quick on your breath and quick on your S and get a breath. Okay, so again, if you listen to the all parts here. Breathe. Now it's really easy. The problem is if you basically get to that relatively long end of that long section and you don't fit a breath in, or you put the S in between the all it takes is, the timing's going to go everywhere on the all it takes is, because the all it takes is everybody is in exactly the same timing, and we really need the rhythm to be the same, otherwise we won't hear that kind of unified message of all it takes is one voice. We'll get blah, 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 one voice, which is going to affect it slightly. So make sure you're practicing the S's on beat 3 of section D, and then you're also the S, early S on beat 2, just before all it takes is one voice. They're two that I think can really easily trip you up if you go into kind of slight autopilot of singing, thinking you've almost reached the end. You know what I mean? You'll get through section C and you'll think, we've done the difficult bit now. Oh, I just went wrong. Is generally what happens. Any other questions, folks? Right, before we finish, I want to do the whole song. I'd like to do the whole song, and then we're good. Is that okay with everyone? Cool, excellent. So I'm going to mute you, and I'll put that on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play, well, it is the whole song, but I'm going to only put the harmony part one on, okay? So it's the harmony part one that you're going to sing to, mainly so we can listen to the timings on that, okay? So here we go. I will help as much as I can with the timing, because there's no melody line in this one.
2, 3, 4.
Listen to this.
2, 2, 3.
It's just 20 seconds of silence. Here we go. And breathe and build, smile. S. Support on this note. Keep it up. Breathe. Move it upwards and smile. 2, 3, B. Breathe. It takes one. And lighten it up now. Soft D's. No breath. Breathe. No breath. Breathe. No breath. It takes that. Let it blossom and bloom. Breathe. Here's our section C. Good. Big breath here. Miss out a word if you need to. Push it on now. One, two, breathe. And air. Breathe. No breath here. Light, keep it smiling. Breathe. Smile for me. Good, good, good. Keep it going, keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. Yes. Excellent. So the harmony parts, if I'm being honest, if you're looking at timing, harmony parts only is the one to listen to when you're looking at your timing and you're wanting to get that precision. You also, if you put headphones in when you're listening and practicing, your part is through the through the right ear. I've had to go mirror image, so basically through the right ear. Okay, you can hear your part. For me, it's this earphone. You can hear your part really nicely planted through that earphone, and actually it's not quite, obviously it's not as loud as your part predominant where your part's really loud, but it really helps with the timing of all the other parts. You can hear those parts coming in, coming out. You can hear, and actually some of the other parts at the beginning act as a pickup. for you. When the other part goes like one goes like one voice, it actually brings you in, and actually it means you can get your head around the timing, and I think it makes it a lot easier. So if I could offer one bit of advice, rehearse with the harmony parts only, otherwise the melody seems to get in the way of your timing a lot of the time. Okay? Any questions before we finish, folks? I think we're pretty much there. We're an hour and 6 minutes, which is pretty good. I will always try and keep it below an hour and 20. So we're not too bad. Any questions?
Thank you.
Oh, that was great. Really good.
Well, absolutely marvelous, folks. The positive thing is I now am wide awake. Maybe it's the quadruple shot coffee, but I'd like to think that it's actually you lovely ladies have made me feel alive and vibrant on another morning. But probably in about half an hour I'll just be depressed because I'm up again and I've got to stay up until really late at night. And I haven't had any sleep in the last night.
The time's really on the files. You don't sleep.
The sad thing. Do you know the sad thing, folks? This is because of my section leaders are so awesome and they've booked so many sectionals, yeah? They've literally keep on booking them. I think we've now had, by the time we finished, I think it'll have been 172 sectional rehearsals.
Wow.
Brilliant.
172.
Amazing.
And that's just in stage one. There's another stage of rehearsal to come. I know, this is stage one, 172. This is my last sectional rehearsal of this stage.
Oh.
Wow.
I know.
Yeah.
That's it. I am no longer to be seen by anyone in a sectional rehearsal, apart from if I just gate and say hello. I'm basically I'm just like standing outside wanting to join in the disco, but I'm basically not going to be able to. But yeah, but there you go. But yeah, so thank you so much for being so lovely on.
Thank you.
What?
Probably at midnight when I'm all right, Debbie. I'm going to try and get some. But thanks for the invite, your midnight sessions. You did book them. I mean, thing is, I'm much better in the morning than I am at night. I mean, I stay up at night at the moment, but I'm not very good company at midnight. By that point, I've just given up on the world. You know, in the morning there's sunshine and I can feel happy because it's a bright new day. At midnight, I'm basically like, well, that was a rubbish day, wasn't it? Even if it wasn't, you get to midnight and the darkness comes in and the solipsism takes you. So, folks, thank you so much for this morning. Hopefully it's been a useful session. It will, obviously, what I'll do is I'll upload it and pop it in the same playlist that all my other rehearsals go in. So if you want to re-go over anything or anything at all, do pop back into that video and have a watch. Obviously, the positive is that you can skip through the parts where I was yabbering on for ages, and you can probably cut the rehearsal down to about 10 minutes if you just get rid of me talking. But, you know, I like to think it makes the rehearsal kind of, you know, original with me yapping on for the whole time. So thank you so much, folks. Have a wonderful day. Interestingly, yesterday I had a lady from Alaska, and for her it was 10 o'clock. It was 10:30 at night. So she'd popped in for a late night rehearsal before going to bed as I got up, and we shared a yawn. I did a morning yawn, and then she yawned, but to her it had gone back in time and was a nighttime yawn. It was really strange. There you go. But thank you for all being in the morning, because she was about to get a full night's sleep and I just had about 4 hours. So yeah, but she was lovely. But yeah, there was one person in my 7:30 yesterday. So it's nice to have so many people here today. Have a wonderful day. If you do have any questions, do let us know. I will because Debbie's Sopranos have been doing it. I will put a little thread up if you've got any comments on the Facebook group, because that's a Soprano thing that I don't want to break it. So I'll follow on with the Sopranos, because I am not the head Soprano section leader, you see. That would be Debbie. So obviously I need to make sure I carry on what Debbie started. So I'll put a thread on Facebook members group that you can put any comments or any questions on. Let me know if you need anything, and it's been wonderful, folks. So thank you so much, and have a wonderful day, whatever it is you're doing.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Simon. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.